Hi class, Jolene here. Let's talk about shapes. Let's look at simple geometric shapes, which are squares, circles, triangles, stars, etc. These are the basic ones. You probably already know how to make them, but let's review that. So the rectangle tool is right here, and you can make all kinds of rectangle shapes by clicking and dragging whatever shape you want. If you want a specific size shape, you can again click here and then click once on your artboard and define that shape. So say we are making, we have a defined size that we need, and it's 3 inches by 2.75. Now this rectangle is precisely that. That wasn't a very good example. Let me do one. Let's make this 4. I'll make it 5 so it's more obvious. There we go. So that is precisely the size I entered there in the dialog box. Okay, so that's rectangle shapes. To make a perfect square, let's select this again, hold down shift while you're dragging, that makes a perfect square. Same with to make a perfect circle, use the ellipse tool, hold down shift, and you get a perfect circle. If you want just a regular ellipse of some kind, you can make them short, fat, skinny, whatever, just by clicking and drawing. Oops. All right, then triangle. There's a bunch of different ways to make a triangle. You could do it by making a rectangle and then getting the white direct select tool and the pen tool and doing the delete anchor point and just delete a point, and then we have that kind of a triangle. Or you could use the polygon tool and click once to get this dialog box and choose 3 sides, and there you have a triangle doing it that way. Or you could choose the star tool, and again, the dialog box, change this to 3 points, and there's that kind of a rectangle. I'm going to get this and then the white direct select tool, and then you can pull these out, and I'm holding down shift so I get a straight line there. Well, I didn't get a straight line. Oh, no, that's an oval line, kind of. So actually, it looks like shift didn't work to do that. Okay, so those are your simple, basic geometric shapes. And you can play around with the dialog box. For instance, for the star, add more points and you get a more traditional star. If you're not liking how those radiuses are working, click the star tool and hold down Control. You can make them longer or shorter. Now, as far as the settings on the star tool go, the radius 1 stands for or represents the distance between the center of the star and the tip of the point. The radius 2 indicates the inside radius here, so from the center to this point right here. And if you want a standard looking star, you do radius 2 about 1/3 the size of radius 1. So radius 1 I've got at 1 inch, and radius 2 I've got at 0.33, and then a 5-point star. and that's what you get. So that'll kind of give you a guideline of how you can set up different shapes of stars. If you want to make a star, big star burst, make this like 30 points, and you get something like that. Okay, let's talk about complex geometric shapes. These are rectilinear shapes that are created by combining two or more simple geometric shapes. So let's make something like this right here. So I'm just going to make a rectangle. I'm going to change that to a fill. And then I'm going to make a circle about like that. I'll change the colors so you can see what's happening here. Then I'll move this over. They have to be touching in order to make a solid shape. Now I will select this shape, both of these shapes, and I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool to combine them. So this is the Pathfinder tool, and you'll see here all these different icons for shape modes, and if you hover over them, it'll tell you just what that one does. So this is Unite, and so now we have one shape there. And then you can adjust that shape. So see how where they met here, not really liking that. So I'm going to click the minus key on my keyboard. So now the pen tool shows up with a minus, and I'm going to click and remove that anchor. And then I'll remove this anchor right, where is it? That one. So then that smoothed out those lines. So once you've made a shape, you can do other things with that shape. Now say, let me take this star, and I'm going to hold down Alt to duplicate it. Select all of this, go back to my Pathfinder tool, and then take whatever's on top, it'll subtract it. Subtract the other stuff, I should say. Let me do Command Z. Let me see if I hold down Alt, then let me do that again. Select them all, and yes, it subtracts. The thing on top will still be there. Let's see what this one does. Does it in a different way. I'm doing Command Z to keep going back and forth. And this one does that. And so you can experiment with this and see what these other Pathfinder tools will do for you with your shapes. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is curvilinear lines or shapes. Curvilinear shapes. And these are a combination of curved lines and straight lines, a little bit of each. So I'll use the pen tool to create one of these, and I'm just going to click once, click again, and now I'm going to click and drag. That's what makes a curvilinear line. Clicking and dragging. Now I want to go straight again, so I just click once and click again there, and oh look, I made a piece of toast, of pink toast. So that's a combination of curvilinear and straight lines. Now if I want to adjust this to make it look more like a piece of toast, I could kind of bring that in. That kind of thing. Okay, then we're going to move on to organic shapes. So those are just free-flowing natural curves, that's something you might see in nature. So again, using the pen tool, I'll click once, And then after that, every time I'll click and drag. Click and drag. The more you drag, the sharper the line gets. And then I'll click and drag there. So there's my organic shape. So that's a little bit about how to make shapes.